Okay. So, hello. So, first, I'm French, so I don't speak English very, very well. So I have a strong accent. So sorry about that. And second is I don't really like PowerPoints because it's monodirectional, and sometimes it's I don't think it's appropriate for sharing ideas. So I did something to print, and on this print, there are some examples of what I think is good examples on sustainability design, but it's not only on ecological, but on ecosystem. I say why ecosystems? Because if you are aware of the ecosystem you are working on, then you can talk about sustainability. Because sustainability is all about what you're doing and what impact you are going to have on your ecosystem. So first, on the first page, in one, I did there's a small definition on what is an ecosystem, and I emphasize on interaction. What is interaction? Ecosystem is all about interacting. And I think that if you look at what is interaction and take into account all kinds of interactions like geography, like historical interactions in past, and if you look closely at this chain, it's about a paper pencil. A stupid object, you know. A paper pencil is with a wood and a lid. But this stupid object is really complicated if you look deep inside, because there are many reasons that the design of this pencil object is like it is today. So if you look at closely, there's the lead history, and the lead is an innovation made of 2 wars against England, because in England there was graphite. And the graphite in England was the only geographical point where people could find graphite. And before, pencils were made of pure graphite, you know. And pure graphite is when you have a shortage of graphite, then you have to use less. Hence, Conti innovation that mixed clay with graphite to obtain leads, and the leads themselves, you have different grades, H to B, you know, and it's because of that it's mixing of the graphite with clay. But what is interesting here is that in many cases you have some little stories that says why the object is like this today, and if you want to change one object in its ecosystem, you have to think carefully of what you're doing, because there's many things that were here before, and there's reasons why the object is like that. And so that's why I wanted to start with something very simple, like a paper pencil. And if you look at closely to the shell, the body, the wooden body, is not very interesting. There's not much to say about it. And now you have many. It's like you know, clipping leads. Papers, you know, and it's because the wooden body is you have to cut it out, and there's waste, and it's quite complicated to produce. But well, that's the first thing. So that's what I want to say about ecosystem. That is not only materials, it's not only people. It's a lot of interactions that had in the history, in physical places, and so on. So second is about infrastructure. So there's 2 examples. I think here we're thinking big. It's infrastructures. We are providing energy and so on to people, to community. And the first project is Windit. And it's not on production. It's being studied in France, I think. And it's something quite interesting, because they you have a pylons for electricity, and you just put some wind mills inside them, and you inject electricity in the network itself to use the network to produce electricity which is something quite interesting. So here in the ecosystem itself, you just take one part and you add one small technology in it, but you don't move a lot. So you don't need to put windmills. You already have this, the sites to put the windmills. Am I clear? Clear? Okay. Thank you. So the next one is about nuage vert, is green cloud. And it's not exactly a design in itself, but it's using infrastructure to communicate on what it's doing. So I think it's quite important today that infrastructures communicate about what they do and how they interact with the community. Because today, I don't know, you don't know where the electricity comes from, how much CO2 is needed to produce it, and so on and so on. And moreover, in energy, and especially in electricity, you cannot stock electricity. So you have to be the most efficient as possible, to bring the right amount of electricity depending to the use. And some plants, especially nuclear plants, can't lower their production. So that's why in France we have some quite complicated infrastructure with boilers that are connected to the network, and when the there's less electricity pumping, then the boilers are putting on, and the nuclear can follow to produce electricity. And boilers are kind of, let's say, energy storage. So nuage vert is mostly an artist intervention, but it's interesting to see that they are doing some social interaction and experiments to see how people do interact with electricity in space. So after there's architecture, so it's buildings, we all know about it, but this project is very interesting. It's a house made of two greenhouses, and it's simple. As plants don't like to be cold, and we don't like to, and it's same kind of, I don't think, but ecosystem. We need water, we need light, we need heat, sorry. And so the greenhouse provides all this, and there have been a lot of studies, and I think that the greenhouse is much more in strain for